Well, hello there and welcome back to its F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. We're at the death throes of Season 1 now, round 15 of 16, with the little Minardi team after picking up a few points finishes this season. So the workstation then, before we go to the track, as expected, Mexico is going to be nice and dry, although there is some overcast conditions there in the practice sessions and for qualifying. That's for messages, weekend preview from Carl, weather forecast, overcast and qualifying, sun's going to creep through and then it's sort of the opposite really into the race, but at least it is dry. Development's completed. Just had a call from my colleagues at Renault. That would have been I mentioned that and showed that at the end of the previous episode. So yeah, we've got no rivalries at the moment. We probably won't have one now until the end of the season. As for performance and the R&D, everything is now legalised for the powertrain and the aerodynamic department, and now we're in the case of saving up as many resource points as we can for a big off-season upgrade if possible. So nothing in progress. And as for the progress history from the other teams, looks like Mercedes, Red Bull have had upgrades and they're very close. Nothing from Ferrari for the last couple of races. AlphaTauri have had an upgrade as well. So Renault, Racing Point, AlphaTauri, McLaren and Alfa Romeo are very close. Nothing from Haas or ourselves. Williams have had a little upgrade themselves, but we shouldn't be challenged too much by them. As for power units, making the change now onto units number 4, so I do remember to do it this time. These units are pretty much in the 20s and 30s, and the units number 4s and 5s are pretty much in the 10s and 20s. So we're pretty much safe now to get to the end of the season, absolutely, in fact, without having to take a grid penalty. As for the gearbox, practice gearbox 9% will carry that for the end of the season. Event gearbox 10%, carry that to the end of the season. Weekend tyre indication, we've gone for the softest available for us. So we've got 2 medium compounds that I'll use in FP1, and then in FP2 and FP3 we'll have 4 sets of soft compounds. So pretty much standard procedure as we move into FP1. So I'll give you guys an update at the end of the session. So there we are at the top of FP1. You can see the soft tyres on this. You already know what I'm going to say. We attempted all of the practice programs in that session, and we managed to do pretty well. We got purple in all of them apart from the qualifying sim one, which we can only get green on. So we ended up with, I think, 550 resource points out of 575, something like that, but still a nice healthy amount. So a completely unrepresentable lap time. Before that though, I was sitting I think just a couple of tenths behind Nick De Vries. So yeah, we were sort of around where Ocon, Magnussen and Russell was on the medium tyres, doing like standard fuel, standard ERS, that sort of thing, completing like race strategy and tyre wear programs, that sort of thing. So I think that we do have a little bit of pace here, although it's not going to be blindingly fast, like, you know, being P1 and FP1 after the qualifying sim is a bit yeah, it's a bit of Mickey Mouse, but we are sort of in this area where we are expected to be, really. So I'm quite happy. I'm happy with the balance of the car as well. I'm happy with the setup I've got. I'm happy with the tyre wear rates as well. So everything is now done, to be honest with you, which means I'll probably set out FP2 and FP3, and I'll see you guys at qualifying. What that does mean, of course, is that you might be able to see more footage from qualifying and the race, because I only have a certain amount of time, obviously, to compress the footage, and ideally I want to show less of practice, because it's basically me just going around completing programs, getting resource points. I don't know that everyone out there wants to see more action from qualifying in the race, so that's what we'll be doing. But yeah, to end FP1 in P1, having completed all of the practice programs with well, all purple, 1 green, I'm happy with that. So the resource points gained, 577 for me, 170 from Nick De Vries, puts us 2215. Team McLaren 20% and 16%, so 36 combined for the team, very close to level 14. So back at the workstation before qualifying, obviously showing you there the Team McLaren and the resource points gained. We didn't run in FP2 or FP3, got everything done in FP1. Let's save some units. So then, some blurb there about the Mexico circuit, the Hermanos Rodriguez circuit. We'll make the change now onto our better units. Just make sure these are okay. 36 to 19, 32 to 17, 38 to 23, and 36 to 17%. As for the gearbox, no worries there whatsoever. We've got the best units available to us on the car. and now we can advance into the qualifying session. So a minute has gone in the qualifying session. You see it's going to be fairly overcast in qualifying. So the car setup then, drained the fuel out. Aerodynamics running 6-7 wings, transmission 55-55. Suspension geometry to the right and left for the camber and toes as usual. Suspension 5-3, 6-5-5-5. Brakes 154. Tyres, I've taken 1 click out of PSIs on all 4 tyres. Seems the rears are a little higher than the fronts, which is probably to be expected around a circuit like this. There's only a few cars out there on circuit at the moment, so we might as well get out there and join them. So not too sure what to expect from the qualifying session. I think we should be looking good to beat the Williams cars. I think it would be close between ourselves and Nick De Vries, so we'll just have to knuckle down, put in some decent laps at least. And coming out the pits onto the long main straight here at the Hermanos Rodriguez circuit in Mexico. A little bit different from what it used to be back in the 90s. Will be, I think the last time I hosted a race was probably the early 90s. Same as Paul Ricard, really. The biggest change, really, the circuit itself hasn't changed too much, apart from that final sort of stadium section now. We used to have a corner called the Peritaldo, which is basically, it was basically like a small parabolica, if you like, where you had a long straight leading down to a right-hander and then leading onto the long main straight. So very similar to Parabolica at Monza, just a little bit smaller and tighter, but it's now being butchered up by a stadium section, which used to have a baseball pitch there, and now it just says tarmac and grandstands. Other than that, for the circuit, this section here, 7, 8, 9 and 10, all very tricky. But if you nail it through here, you do find a lot of time. There's 3 DRS zones as well, 1 across the main straight. We've got the second one between turns 3 and 4, and we've got another little one here as well, which I don't think will provide too much overtaking opportunities unless you're big, bold and brave coming into the stadium section. So usually you go straight on there. But now we have this little section here, which just has some cool grandstands, to be honest with you. We've got a Renault behind us, so we'll move out of Ricardo's way. And out of the new final corner. And here we go then, let's put a lap on the board. And at the final corner where it's going to put us momentarily. P8, we're ahead of both the Haas cars, so that's nice. Yeah, and another thing as well. Thank you, Jeff. Albon's retired from the session again. So we saw in the last race that Albon didn't set a lap time and retired in the session. It's happened the same as well. It popped up on the screen. I saw that the track was going yellow, sort of like the section we're in at the moment there, because we're going quite slowly, and it was along the main straight. So Albon again has retired with mechanical issues in the qualifying session. All very weird, but we'll have a slow tour back to the pits anyway. But it's good to be ahead of the Haas cars already. So just over 9.5 minutes left of the session. Track is starting to get quiet as it usually does in the middle of the session, and we're currently sitting in P15. Might be slowest in the speed trap, but we're P15 at the moment. We're only about a tenth and a bit off of Sainz and Ocon in 13th and 14th. We're half a second clear of Giovinazzi, Magnussen, Latifi, Grosjean, Nick De Vries as well, George Russell at the back, Albon of course out of the session. So yeah, it's looking pretty good actually. I think I will go out again now. Why not? Because I'm feeling like possibly doing a 2-stop strategy here in the race. Soft, mediums if we can. Or maybe medium, soft, medium, or you know, soft, medium, soft, or something of that variation. I think we could probably get away with it. So we're going to go aggressive. But sitting in P15 is not bad actually after our first run. I'll take it. Definitely find some time as well right there. Okay, into the stadium section again to complete our outlap. Took it very easy with the tyres. Here we go. Found a lot of time here, look at this. Nearly half a second up. Up into P12. Get in there. This is looking good. So 2 minutes 45 left. Just looking at the TV screen there, you can see our garage on our left hand side. Looks like they're quite busy with Nick De Vries's Minardi. You can see the mechanics working. We've also got, looks like a Williams coming out there. Both the Williams are coming out. So, yeah, the track is slowly starting to come to life again. And you can see they're P12 at the moment, less than a second off of provisional pole. Our Sector 1 time was down a little bit. I did lose a bit of time in Turn 2 and Turn 3, but Sector 2 and Sector 3 seem to be a lot better. I think it's going to be difficult to try and find some decent time. But you can see there's some more and more people coming out on circuit. So we'll do the same.
Everyone ready? Okay, let's go.
Don't think we'll make top 10. I think everyone will improve, obviously, on their final run, as is the way, as you always see. But if we can find a little bit of time, I'll be happy. So we're coming out behind a racing point and ahead of the other one. As for tyre wear, I should talk about that really. I took it very easy on the outlap, probably only added maybe 1 or 2% at most to the tyres, and we ended it the lap on 10%, but of course we were pushing very, very hard. So I think probably in the race the soft tyres will probably start to go off after about 8 laps. So maybe 2 stints of the soft is going to be a bit difficult to do. We need to find ourselves a little bit of breathing space out here. So I'm expecting to tumble down the order a little bit, as everyone ahead of us will probably go quicker. So pay attention to the timing on the left hand side. Currently in P12, we'll probably slip down a few positions. And hopefully we can claw that P12 back. Or maybe even improve, who knows. Right, here we go. Oh, this is a good lap. This is a really good lap. Where does it put us? Oh, it's P6. Get it up, yeah. Oh, we're P6. I think I cheesed it a little bit in turn 2. I probably took a bit too much. Well, in fact, I did take a bit too much curve. I don't think I was even on the track because it gave me a warning. But we didn't lose. I think I did look at the delta time. We were about 4 tenths up after we got onto the second straight, and we were about that time as well crossing the line. So I think overall our lap would have been a bit better. I think we've lucked it into a bit of a P6, but I'll take it. It's so close there in the midfield. I mean, if we were 2 tenths slower, we would have been down in P12. So really close there. Verstappen's taken pole, Bottas second, Leclerc third, Ricciardo up in 4th. We're in 6th, which I think is definitely our best qualifying that we've had so far this season. Perez 7th, Hamilton, we've out-qualified Hamilton in P8, Kvyat and Sainz complete the top 10. We'll scroll down further down to see what's going on. Nick De Vries in 20th. Russell's done well to out-qualify both the Haas cars and Latifi, and Albon at the back, who retired yet again from the qualifying session. So the team acclaim, 20% for me, 16% for Nick De Vries, 36 overall for the team. So we will definitely be level 14 by the end of the season. So back at the workstation, starting in P6. Hey, how you feeling? Hope you had your fill at breakfast as you go into the all the energy you can muster today. So nice and sunny to start off with. The cloud will come in about halfway through. No chance of rain, which is good. There's nothing else we can do. I've got all the big powerful units on the car. We're going to be starting at least P6. Of course, if you look at the last race as well, there's a lot of grid penalties. I think even half the field had grid penalties. I think it will be the same here and Mexico and Brazil as well. So you might even be starting higher than P6. But yeah, great qualifying in the end. We're locked into starting on those soft tyres. So it might be a case of soft, mediums and hards now for the strategy, because we'll be taking into a U set, I should say, into the start of the race. But we'll go to the race. We'll have a look at the introduction to the weekend and the circuit, and then the grid formation as well, see who has what penalties, and then have a little look at our race strategy.
Here we go then. It's time to race in Mexico City, a place which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther won from third on the grid. And what are the Honda-powered cars this year? Well, Red Bull have been going strong here in recent seasons, so can they keep that record going today? The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 2.6 miles of track that allows drivers to take full advantage of their cars, reaching speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, and providing lots of opportunities for overtaking. The circuit features 17 corners, 10 to the right and the remaining 7 going to the left. Now, Anthony Davidson, I wonder, might we be in for some early pit stops today from the midfield teams, all trying to put some pressure on or disrupting things for the leaders up front?
If you're in the middle of the pack, you know, you got your own race to run. I don't think they're going to be thinking about causing trouble up front. However, closer to the head of the pack, don't be surprised to see some split strategies. If you're running second and third, for example, bringing one car in for an undercut while leaving the other one out there longer can put a lot of pressure on the leader and maybe force them into an error.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Lee and Perez, Hamilton, Kvyat, Sainz and Lando Norris, Stroll, Gasly, Kimi Raikkonen and Ricciardo. They've taken a grid penalty. Giovinazzi, Russell, Kevin Magnussen and Roman Grosjean. De Vries, Ocon, Latifi and Alexander Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So there we go, we're now up into P5. Both the Renaults, Ricciardo and Ocon, have grid place penalties, as does Albon, but he was at the back anyway. So it's P5 at Mexico. Soft, medium is a doable strategy according to this. We'll start with 1 lap worth of extra fuel. Chances of a safety car are quite high. Soft, hard is another strategy we can go for. Soft, medium and hard, I think we could... Can we do soft, medium? I doubt it very much. No, but we can do soft, medium, soft, which is very little difference, half a tenth of a second between it. So that's a possible strategy that we can do, but we'll stick with the soft, medium for now. Ideally, that was the strategy that I wanted to go on. And we're starting very high up in 5th place. With a slow pull away. You can see that is a tyre wear then.
Bringing the car up to temperature, please. Get some load into the tyres and work the brakes. We want them nice and warm by the end of the lap.
So we've got both the Ferraris ahead of us. Perez, homeboy Perez behind us, and Hamilton as well, who's going for the championship. He's 35 points ahead of Bottas with 52 left to play for when the flag goes down. So if Hamilton pretty much has a decent result here, the title should be his. So the tyre wear is a little bit of an issue. Already completed a couple of laps on it. And that's for the power units. Might as well cycle through that again just to give you a heads up. So there they are on the right hand side. Everything's nice and healthy really for this race. And to be honest, we could probably run these units completely through Brazil as well. They'll still give us a decent amount of life.
No rain expected for the time being.
Yeah, chances of rain in Mexico is slim to nil. It's the circuit that has the highest altitude on the calendar. I don't know how many meters it is above sea level, but it's several thousand. It'll be a bit of a hold for us on the grid. Usually when we take up our grid spot, it's only a few seconds and lights come on, but we'll be waiting quite a while here, starting this front up. This high up, I should say. I'm starting this high up. I'm surprised I haven't got a nosebleed yet with my head's in the clouds. Through the stadium section then. Taking it nice and easy on the formation lap, or the parade lap. Last thing we want to do is add extra percentage to those tyres. They need to carry us quite far. Doesn't really matter if you start on the inside or the outside. It's such a long run to turn 1. And there could be a possibility of 2 or 3 wide down into turn 1. Everyone getting slipstream off the car in front. So here we go, P5. Oh, we nailed that off the line. Oh, we got blocked a little bit by Leclerc. Hang it around the outside. Okay, so we lost the position. Hamilton made a rocket start. We made a blinding start. And look at this. Forget about Albon. He's at the back of the field. The only cars in front of me are the Mercedes, Ferraris and Verstappen.
Start was okay, now stay alert for threats around you.
Lap 1 completed.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Well, here comes Perez then. Our straight line speed isn't great. I'm not surprised really. That is basically a B-spec Mercedes that's passing us. And Perez, of course, at his home race. A little twitchy there on exit. Top 5 always going to disappear. So into lap 5. Staying with Perez, just about. And keeping good back gap to Kvyat and Sainz behind. Field spread starting to happen now. We're doing alright here. Cool, both me and Perez a bit twitchy there on exit coming into lap 6. I feel like Perez is he's not gaining on Vettel ahead, but we're holding a gap and we're slowly starting to break away from the cars behind. This is good. If we can break the DRS from Kvyat and Sainz and all that behind, that's going to give us a bit of an advantage. Tyre wear is a bit of an issue though, as you can see. But we're doing okay. Okay, coming into the stadium section to end lap 9. Tyre wear on the 2 worst tyres is now into 60%. So we're pitting now at the end of this lap. Going on to a second set of soft tyres. You can see there the tyre graph came up. It was our pit window anyway. One of the Ferraris was in. And there's a couple more people in as well. So it looks like I think most people are going for the 2-stop strategy.
Go, exit now. We're racing on the exit. Go, go, go.
You come up behind the McLaren. Back in P20. Not a worry though. Nice fresh set of soft tyres. So we're in purple in sector 2, and you can see we're now going to slowly start creeping up the order. Perez has just made a pit stop, and you can see him just rejoining ahead of us. We're losing a bit of speed down the main straight, so you can imagine having no one to follow. This is now the second stage of this race now. I'm aiming for at least lap 20 on these soft tyres. And then we'll bump on a set of mediums and see what we can do with that. We've got a yellow flag ahead of us, as someone's had an incident. Safety car comes now. I'll be crying. We've got Perez. We're catching Perez actually because he's stuck behind De Vries. There's a Ferrari. It's Vettel. And the safety car is out.
Keep your delta number positive as we form up. Drop your speed. Our delta. Nick is coming in for a stop.
Okay then, so everyone that needs to make a pit stop has made a pit stop. Haven't really gained anything over us. Back up into P6. So we haven't lost out anything. Of course, what this does do, of course, is it helps our tyre life a little bit. So it's pretty much status quo as it was before the pit stops. There's not been any big movers, no winners or losers and out of this. And this does of course help us with our tyre wear and our fuel as well.
Okay, let's get ready to go racing again. The safety car is in this lap. When the field accelerates, remember, there is no overtaking until the green flags. Safety car in this lap.
Okay, safety car's coming back in. We only added 2% in them 2 laps onto the tyres, so it definitely puts us in a slightly better position. And away we go again.
Okay, clear.
No, come back, Perez. So down on power. Everyone's all over the show. Oh, I'm going to lose that to Norris here. So almost at the halfway point of the race. Lap 16 of 36. Pulled out a bit of a gap. 2 Sainz behind, but I'm losing the tow from the cars in front. DRS is now being enabled as well, so we really need to try and push on here and close back up to Norris if we can, so he can pull us around the circuit. But still, we're P7. I wouldn't have expected this at the beginning of the weekend. Best lap so far, 19.720. We're very good in sector 2, but we lose it all in sector 3. Still holding on. I think I'm going to come under attack from Sainz here. This Renault engine is so gutless. I need a better engine for next season. We lose so much time down the straights. And Sainz of course has a double dose of DRS. Just this Renault engine is just, there's nothing to it. Sainz pitting in. That's early. And you get a nice little bit of DRS as well.
We want to pit this lap, so push now.
There we go then. So the pit window's now open for the medium tyres. Let's have a look at the percentage. Yeah, it's going to be in the 60s by the time we're done with this lap.
Gap to teammate behind is 12.5 seconds.
So the final corner. Into the pits now then. Onto the medium tyres. Should be able to get us to the end. We'll drop down the order a little bit at the moment, but I'm sure we'll creep back up. Hopefully we'll still be inside the top 10.
Go now.
And you stay ahead. And he's gone to the hard tyres as well. That's a surprise. So some drivers out there going medium, some going hards. Oh, I just made Latifi look stupid. I could not afford to be held up behind Latifi for any longer than I needed to. And doing around the outside into that corner doesn't happen. Nick De Vries pits.
Nick is in the pits. Nick in the pits.
So we'll creep back up the order now. Hopefully back inside the top 10. Indeed we are. P8 now though. Quite a few cars behind. Got to try and find a way past Sainz. Albon's now past Kvyat, and Kvyat's on the hard tyres as well, so he's not going to be catching us. So the longer that we're behind Sainz, the worse it's going to be for us. Oh, very twitchy through there. Here we go, this is it, this has got to be it. And we've done it. Those hard tyres will comfortably get to the end, the mediums will start to grain up and go off with a couple of laps to go. So I've got to try and pull away now from Sainz if I can. Make sure he's not in my DRS. Albon will be a threat. Naturally in the Red Bull. Just got to push now really. Okay, into lap 29 now. Tyre wear situation, be in the 30s by the end of this lap. I'm using rich mix down the main straight and the back straight and trying to save the ERS. Albon looks like he's finally got past Sainz and he's just about 2 seconds behind. I don't think we're really slowly creeping in on Norris too much. But there's a big gap behind Sainz in 9th and Kvyat still in 10th. So it's all about really just pushing now. And when these tyres start to go with a few laps to go, hopefully we got enough of an advantage to hold on to a points position. Albon will catch and pass us, I can guarantee that. Sainz maybe as well, but I think we might be safe from Kvyat. Okay, into lap 32, Albon is behind us. I'm not going to use any rich mix or ERS. I'm literally just going to let him go. Pointless fighting a Red Bull, but 4.2 seconds ahead of Sainz, 7.2 ahead of Kvyat. It's looking good so far. So at the final corner to come across the start lap 35 and 36. Managed to save enough ERS that we can really punch it for the last couple of laps. So we are pulling away from Sainz, 5.3 now. And we've got a yellow flag in sector 1. That's a Red Bull going slowly. So I think we're about to gain an extra position here. I think we're about to get P7. That must be Verstappen then, because Albon's just ahead of us. Indeed, Verstappen out of the race. And I do believe he was in the lead as well. So just 2 laps to go then. There he is on the left-hand side. It's a gift. It's P7. I'll take it though. I don't care. Unlucky for Verstappen though. I'm pretty sure he was in the lead. Sainz catching us a little bit. Our medium tyres are starting to get a little tired now. But I'm not pushing it too hard, to be honest. We're never going to catch Albon. I'll show you the medium tyres. There you go. That's how crud they are. But I'm quite happy to just circulate round now. Gap's down to just under 4 seconds. That's fine. You won't catch that in a lap unless I make a monumental error. But I won't.
This is your final lap of the race.
Copy that, Jeff. So it's a Mercedes 1-2. Not too sure which one's in front. Perez is third. Perez is going to have a podium at his home race. Sainz is fourth. Leclerc is fifth. Albon is sixth. We are in seventh, and you can see there the gap to the left-hand side of Sainz is coming down now, as you would imagine. But I am not worried in the slightest. He won't catch us. Qualified 6th, started in 5th, going to finish 7th. That is a competitive weekend by all accounts. Didn't expect to be this competitive at Mexico. Thought I'd struggle a little bit, to be honest. Thought I'd be languishing down with the Haas and the Alfa Romeos. Maybe this is a circuit that I quite like. The tyre graph on the right hand side has gone yellow, which means that one of the tyres is above 60%. I dare not look. 61 left rear. Hamilton wins the race and therefore wins the title. So well done to him. And the fireworks come up then in the stadium section. Sainz 2 seconds away now. It doesn't really matter. Perez with a podium at his home race. Man, the fans will be happy with that. We're not as happy as my team though. It's P7 at Mexico. More points. Happy days.
And so the celebrations begin, and well earned they are indeed. It may have looked simple at times, but as any racing driver will tell you, competing at this level, at the very top, is anything but simple. There's no catching them now then. We have a new World Drivers' Champion.
So there we go then, the final results. Hamilton wins the race and therefore collects the Drivers' Championship. Mercedes won the Constructors in the previous race. Bottas second. Perez, his home race, starts 6th, finishes on the podium. Norris, I thought it was Sainz, it was Norris then who was in 4th place. Of course it was. Sainz was behind us for several laps towards the end, so Norris with a good 4th place. Leclerc, Albon from the back of the field to 6th. We come across the line in P7. Probably as competitive as we were here than we were Austria. So Mexico and Austria, 2 circuits I go very well at. That's good information going ahead to future seasons. Sainz, Kvyat and Gasly complete the top 10. We weren't really under pressure from Sainz and Kvyat. I backed off a little bit last couple of laps just to get the car home, which is why the gap's a bit smaller. But a 19.1 was our fastest lap. Slower than the top 6 ahead of us, but faster than everyone else behind. So genuine pace here at Mexico. Outside the points, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Ocon, Stroll, Raikkonen, Magnussen, Grosjean, Russell 18th, De Vries in 19th, Latifi in 20th. Verstappen is classified and with the fast lap of the race, but he doesn't get the point. He failed to finish inside the top 10. Started on pole, was looking to win the race, retired with 2 laps to go. And Vettel was an early retirement that brought out the safety car. So, into the standings, with just 1 race left to go. Hamilton secures the title with a 42-point gap over Bottas. Vettel and Leclerc very close in 3rd and 4th. Verstappen, I reckon, will have 5th over Albon in 6th. Sainz has secured a 7th place. Ricciardo, Ocon and Perez with his podium moves up into 10th. We drop down to 13th despite picking up a handful of points because Perez and Norris are greatly outscored. It's very tight there in the midfield, and further down as well, no other movers. In the Constructors, then Mercedes of course have won the Constructors title. Ferrari will be 2nd, Red Bull will be 3rd, McLaren will be 4th, Renault will be 5th, AlphaTauri will be 6th, Racing Point will be 7th, I reckon will be 8th, Alfa Romeo in 9th, Haas 10th, Williams 11th. I think that will pretty much be the order going to the end of the season after Brazil. So if we manage to finish the season in 13th place in the Drivers' Championship and 8th in the Constructors, I think that's a very good season. But still, 1 more race to go. So Team McLaren, 20% for me, 16 for Nick De Vries, he's almost level 9, 36 for the team, we will be level 14. As for the cash, we completed all 3 of our secondary sponsors, so 1.22 million to be added, and an extra $50,000 as well. So a profitable weekend in terms of resource points and cash, up to 6.72 million. Okay, so we can manage a sponsor. Novus has now ended. You can see that our primary sponsor, hopefully by the end of the season, it'll be nearly $7 million, because I'm definitely looking at Mercedes engines. So I don't know how to sort this really. Weekly income will probably be the weekly income will probably be the best one. So we scroll to the top, see the big ones anyway. So Zanzer achieve at least one podium position within the team. Satellite as a team complete title fight. We're doing it anyway. Xenon achieve a podium finish. First position, first position, first position, first position. Whew, that's not going to happen. Achieve a fast lap in any session. Atlantic we'll deal with. Complete a weekend without colliding with another vehicle. Complete all practice programs in the weekend. Score 1 Constructors Championship point during a race weekend. 81 days. Well, actually, we go for something that's short. Contract length 81 days. These should be the lowest, shouldn't they? Yep, they are. So we'll go for something quite easy. And drive of the day. Achieve score 3 Constructors 21. As a team, complete a total of 10 laps during a race weekend. That's easy. Weekly income's 160 though. Zigzag, we had them before. As a team, complete a total of 30 laps during the race weekend. I think that answer at least 2 interview questions during a race weekend. Goal bonus 279, weekly income 186. Yeah, we'll go for that one because we seem to get quite a lot of questions at the moment, which I don't really show. I probably should start showing some, but they're generic questions and I just go for the basic answers to help the team. So we'll sign with Zaynetto. Answer at least 2 interview questions during a race weekend. Goal bonus 279k, weekly income 186. Cool. Right, we'll sign with them then. Right, so we've got, how long have we got? We've got 10 days. So the R&D stuff is now on hold until the end of the season. Facilities, we've got 6.72. The next thing to do will be 7 million on the marketing department, but to be honest with you, I'm not interested in doing anything over here. I want to save as much money as I can to try and get the Mercedes engine. I will keep Nick De Vries going into a second season. As for our primary sponsor, not too sure what we'll do just yet, but I'm definitely looking at either the Mercedes or the Ferrari power unit. They seem to be the best on the game. Of course, it could change going into season number 2. We don't know. And you can see the weekly resource points generation 240, weekly running costs $70,000. So we can do some activities. So simulated trainer, we'll definitely do. Attend an F1 esports event for me. Aero department focus, power team building, aerodynamic equipment upgrade, sponsor event. What gives us resource points? The aero department focus gives us resource points, and the aerodynamics equipment upgrade gives us some resource points as well, 30 on each, just a little bit, just to help, and it would improve the aerodynamic morale quite a bit. So nothing to do over here, obviously. Vehicle as well, nothing to do over here. Gearbox 16%, these units in the 20s and 30s. They're fine. To be honest, I could easily run them in all the practice sessions at Brazil. As for corporate side of thing, contract, obviously Nick De Vries then is almost a level 9. His market value and base salary is 3 million at the moment, and it expires at the end of the season. As for driver market, no real interest in anyone else at the moment. Finances, all good so far. As you can expect, we're starting to climb back up again. So we'll advance the time now. Got all this training done for Nick De Vries. Aero department focus, weekly resources and running costs. So some more money there. Aerodynamic equipment upgrade.
Sooner or later, you'll probably be asked by the media who you consider to be your rival. Think carefully who you select. While you will receive a claim for beating them, you'll lose a claim if you fail to do so.
Okay, fair enough. That's fine. That's fine. I don't think we'll have a rivalry now before the end of the season. So then, the aerodynamic department now running with a build time decretion of 4% and a failure chance decretion by 2, because we did a little bit of work over there to get some extra resource points. Other than that, nothing else has really happened. We'll have a look at the driver market, scroll down to, in fact we'll go to contracts, the best thing to do. So Nick De Vries, his experience has gone up by 1, it's now 35, which is nice. And he's still a level 76, almost a claim level of 9. There's not much else really to do. Now we're coming into the final part of the season allocation. Obviously it's the standard one that we'll do. And yeah, it's just a case of generate as much resource points and cash as we can. And yeah, hopefully end the season on a high. As for Mexico, yeah, really competitive. We finished P1 in the practice session, got all the practice programs done in the first session, so we set out FP2 and FP3. Qualifying was good, qualified in P6, a bit of a cheeky corner cut, but to be honest, we only really gained about 2 tenths doing that, so we could have been just outside the top 10, but running the soft mediums worked with that safety car in the middle of the race as well. We was able to catch and pass Sainz towards the end and then hold a decent gap over him to bring the car home in P7. So probably, I think, our second most competitive weekend after Austria, and now we have the final race of the season at Brazil to look forward to. So thank you very much for watching this episode, and I'll see you all for the next one very soon.